Yes. Welcome to this event organized by Queen Mary University of London. I am Daniele Dalvia, Deputy Director of the Institute of Banking and Finance Law at the Center for Commercial Law Studies. And this is a series of CCLS webinars that we organized titled Italian Voices. Essentially, in this series, we showcase the remarkable journey of our distinguished Italian alumni. And today we have with us Dr. Matteo Di Rienzo, who is Assistant General Counsel at JP Morgan Asset Management in London, where he provides legal and regulatory advice to the asset management business in respect of transactional and regulatory matters. He focuses on institutional clients, insurance companies, pension funds, and sovereign wealth fund. Matteo has been also a student, especially with us, in two different programs. One was an LLM that he completed in 2014, started in the academic year 2013-2014 in corporate and commercial law. And then he embarked in a PhD that was within the insurance law sector. In 2025, he completed the PhD with Professor Rodrigo Olivares Caminal as first supervisor, that is also today my colleague. Without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Matteo and maybe to start with some questions that they relate to his journey in London, why, for example, also you decided to come probably in London as a city to study, starting from the LLM in 2013.
Hi, Daniele. Thank you very much for having me today. It's a pleasure for me and an honor to be invited. I'm very grateful for this. Well, actually, I started in London because immediately before I graduated in Italy in law, I had the opportunity to do some internships in London law firms. So I was like 23 or 24. I got my training contract offer back in 2010, and so I moved to London to do my training for the prominent Italian law firm in the city. And when I was approaching the end of my training, I had the idea of doing an LLM because I wanted to expand my horizon from an academic standpoint and gain additional knowledge in respect of common law mainly. And therefore, I got an offer from Queen Mary, and I decided to, quit my job at the law firm and pursue the LLM. And during the same year, I also sit the bar exam in Italy. So I was clear to me that I would not been able to cope with both LLM plus bar admission in Italy, and so I quit the law firm to dedicate 1 year to study.
Absolutely. And why did you choose probably the specialization of corporate and commercial law? Is this something because was maybe connected to your activity?
Yeah, actually, yes. I think it was pretty general in its scope. It was very much connected to the practice I was assigned to in the law firm. It was broad. It was pretty broad, and I chosen 3 modules during my LLM, which were company law, corporate governance, and business taxation. That's because I wanted to have a very broad experience and expertise in relation to company law, which I think it's essential for every business lawyers, no matter what's your specific practice area. Plus, I chosen business taxation because I've always been intrigued by taxation in general and also taxation of financial instruments. The professor was teaching the module is a well-known expert in the taxation of derivative contracts. So it was very interesting to me, and I pursued. I joined the course, his class, and it was a fantastic experience to me. And actually, I ended up doing my LLM dissertation with him on tax warranties and indemnities in UK in international M&A transactions, which was super interesting, very practical in terms of topic, and it's been a useful exercise to expand my knowledge in respect of M&A work, M&A activities, warranties and indemnities in SPAs, And it was also a gateway to start conversations with law firms and other people, practitioners who are clearly interested into that space. Because I mean, it's a kind of a Swiss knife. It's a topic that is relevant in many instances. So it was a good choice.
Absolutely. And then this LLM, in your view, that essentially, I mean, is a product that we offer still today, LLM in different specialization, different programs from corporate commercial law, banking and finance law, regulation and compliance. So we have different programs, as you know, and you have probably seen also in our offer how this LLM has given you the opportunity to probably, I mean, have also better opportunities in your professional career. Also, if I think about today, you are in JP Morgan, so this probably has been an important step in your career.
Yeah, it was absolutely. So for student slash lawyer coming from a civil law jurisdiction, first of all, I wanted to have exposure to common law,
Mhm.
and the LLM was clearly the most obvious way to do so. I strengthened my language skills through the LLM because, of course, I mean, I was 27 when I started my LLM. So my English was not as good as it is today. So it was a great tool to improve my language skills. In terms of education, it helped me setting my standard at an international standard. So when you play in a global arena, being London, of course, having an LLM from a Russell Group university clearly plays a role on top
Mhm.
of the knowledge you gain through the courses. So it was great. And also it was my first connection with the academia in the UK, which in my case has evolved into a PhD years later, as you know. And so without the LLM, I
Exactly.
never ended up doing a PhD at Queen Mary as well.
Exactly. In fact, coming to this, I mean, how you could arrive to this decision to start a PhD, why Queen Mary, why you wanted to continue in reality in the same universities and maybe not other universities, and what was the inspiration to start a PhD in your view, I mean, in your professional
Yeah, of
path?
course. I mean, I think it started off from a number of very important items. One is the appreciation for the contribution of the academia to the profile and expertise of a professional. So I'm a firm believer that a strong academic background makes a difference in professional life. Second point is I enjoyed my time at Queen Mary. So the environment, the modules, the unis, many things together.
Mhm.
I like studying new things. I realized that in my previous job, I had gained a substantial knowledge in a specific space, and I wanted to leverage my knowledge and maybe produce something like a monography, a book, or whatever you name it. And the obvious options were like drafting a book in my living room on my own, or doing pretty much the same exercise through a recognized channel, being a PhD. Because in the end, the output of a PhD is a thesis, which is it can easily be turned into a book. And I thought that performing the exercise through a recognized channel would have been way more impactful and efficient than doing that on my own. And therefore, I reached out to my former dissertation supervisor, who's the tax professor, Professor David Southern, KC, and we came out with the idea. I mean, of doing a PhD. Of course, provided the strong relationships I entertained with alumni and professors at Queen Mary. Queen Mary was, of course, the most obvious choice for me to pursue a PhD. And in the end, Professor Rodrigo Olivares Caminal interviewed me and made me an offer.
Mhm.
And to start a PhD at Queen Mary, I accepted the offer. My
Yeah.
panel was made up of 3 supervisors for the simple reason that my 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 PhD was very much across several subjects, combining financial regulation, insurance regulation, and tax, and therefore we had one supervisor per each field. So
In
all
fact, I mean, speaking about the topic, which topic was within insurance law in your PhD? Why this topic, and how maybe this topic also has become more important in your professional life today?
yeah, no, absolutely. So uh, before joining JP Morgan, I was used to work for Generali, which is a top insurance player globally in the Dublin office, where I was providing assistance and structuring insurance products for ultra high net worth individuals, manufactured in Ireland and distributed into the relevant EU jurisdictions. And these products are very peculiar, being insurance products that they essentially are used as wrappers for investment solutions, and they offer a number of benefits. It's a very niche type of product in a very niche market. I developed a strong knowledge about that, and I wanted to turn my knowledge into a book, as I just said. So it was very very specific, and my PhD essentially was in line with my experience, and so I investigated the tax and regulatory arbitrage opportunities in cross-border business models for this type of products. Therefore, there were, as I said, a combination of financial regulation uh, issues, insurance regulation issues, and tax implications, because the products are very efficient to optimize the tax structure of ultra high net worth individuals. So it was very cross-subject, very horizontal kind of exercise, and therefore we needed the support of um, 3 supervisors, one for each field, basically.
And your supervisors were all from Queen Mary, University of London.
Yeah, they were all from Queen Mary,
Okay.
and was a great experience. I think we had a very, very open relationship, very open conversations. It goes without saying that when you do a PhD, you have been practicing law for a number of years already. The type of conversations that you have with your supervisors are, let's say, more advanced in the sense that they're more complex, more intricate, and we all know where we come from, and so they're more technically sophisticated. And so it was a very enjoyable journey, and I also got loads of very useful inputs and insights during my PhD, both in relation to the topic itself, but mainly in relation to more strictly academic aspects like methodology or research, or how to draft some sections. Or we've been doing a lot of work in terms of the logical reasoning and the logical structure of my PhD. And of course, you need to be quite seasoned to, appreciate the logical sequence of the train of thoughts and the structure of the table of contents of a thesis that ended up being over 300 pages.
Absolutely, yes. The PhD, I think, if I'm not wrong, is 100,000 maximum words.
Yeah, that's correct. Mine was like a 98,000.
Exactly. And do you think that you want to publish the PhD today with some main publisher or?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in the process for the publication, and I'm reviewing my thesis at the moment, turning it into a book, plus updating some sections, because in the meantime there's been some regulatory developments that have had an impact on the thesis I drafted. So yes, but of course it's gonna be one of my targets for the year.
And for example, this type of PhD is something that, as a subject, the UK has embraced, like in England, in London, there are high net worth individuals that they are using those structures, or is something that maybe after Brexit and also the new tax program of the government, Labour government, because we had many essentially high net worth high wealth individuals, I mean, that they left the country. Do you think that this had an impact?
Absolutely, it impacts. So I don't think the UK is very much an attractive jurisdiction for the products for the time being. I rather believe that one of the main benefits for this product originate from the shift between where the manufacturer is established, for example, in Ireland or in Luxembourg, and where the policyholders are located, for example, Italy, Spain, France. And so being the UK a third country from a EU perspective, it's extremely difficult to run a cross-border business between the UK and the EU at the moment. So actually, it's usually no longer the structure preferred by many firms in the banking and insurance space. So I don't think it's any longer possible to leverage the asymmetries between the jurisdictions at the moment. Conversely, it's something that is more efficient within the EU, where there's still a target market for these products, with changes because leveraging tax and regulatory asymmetries, this product require a favorable tax and regulatory framework. And every time that the tax and regulatory framework changes in a jurisdiction, you need to perform again an analysis of whether the product is still efficient, is a good substitute for the discretionary portfolio mandate, which is the closest investment solution usually, or is not anymore.
Absolutely. Maybe I was thinking also, because we are touching those topics and there are some people connected. First of all, thank you for joining. If you have any question, for example, in relation to this topic or also Matteo's career until this point, then we can continue, of course, for a bit. But I was curious to know if you have any question for Matteo. Also in relation, I mean, how was his journey and I don't know, even your purpose to be connected. Maybe you want to know more about Queen Mary University of London, you want to know more about what Queen Mary gave to Matteo and how this can be beneficial for professional development.
Yeah, I can add something. So going back to the role played by Queen Mary in my education journey, I can say that after a number of experiences, I joined JP Morgan back in 2019. And when you join a department which is absolutely massive and top-notch, you appreciate the importance of having developed the skill to work at a certain standard, I would say, to have an international professional profile. And so, of course, education plays a key role. So for me, it made a difference.
Maybe in terms of networking, because we also host many times guest speakers, guest lecturers, that even today, I mean, we can say that now you are a guest lecturer in one of my courses in risk management, but also derivatives in a legal context. So you can bring on board your expertise every day into the class. And it is something that I think students then they appreciate a lot. Also because now I don't remember in the sense that I was having my PhD 1 year after you, but also I think at your time there were guest lecturers in 2013 in that LLM where you could maybe make contacts and so on. How is, in your view, the importance of networking?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, I'm still in touch with several alumni from my LLM, which was now 12 years ago. Most of them have progressed to very high-profile positions, whether in London or in their own jurisdictions. It's a network that we all still nurture. We all still close to each other. We all know each other, and that's great. Absolutely. I stayed in touch with some professors, which is excellent. It's a source of contact over the years. It's a source of mentoring. Sometimes you need to make decisions professionally or academically, and you can reach out to people you have known for years, and you trust them, and then you build up a relationship, and sometimes just vetting your ideas or double checking whether what you think is accurate or not, or whether something is a right choice to do or not, truly makes a difference. I found this in Queen Mary very much. So I'm super grateful for this. Also, I found Queen Mary alumni in the department where I work. There's actually people been studying with Professor Rodrigo in the past. So we all belong to the same family to some extent. We're all good friends. So it's great. And I think people acknowledge where you come from when you get to know them, and then you discover that you have something in common, you know. And there's the appreciation and the recognition that if you come from a certain place or you've been studying with someone, I mean, you know, you're a good one. You have to be a good one, right? So it makes a difference over the years. Because as you said correctly, I think networking is absolutely crucial, but not just like going for drinks with people. It's rather the networking coming out of professional relationships. Because oftentimes, I mean, people don't come to you up until when they need you, and when they need you, they come to you because they expect that you can help them, right? And it makes a difference, because when you become a point of contact once, then you're gonna stay a point of contact. I
Yeah,
think we have a question
yeah,
from
exactly from Vidika, if I pronounce correctly, of course. When you shifted from academia to practice, but I think essentially, I mean, you never really worked in academia. You did an LLM, then you did a
yeah.
PhD. So
I think academia is clearly very different from practice, because you gain theoretical knowledge, also practical to some extent, but of course it's different from the day by day in an office. I think you leverage when you join a law firm or an in-house department, you very much leverage the knowledge you gain in the academia, but you need to use it in the context of something which is way more practical and more applied to the daily tasks that you have to perform. So it's a bit different. But I think there's a clear difference between manually repeating tasks without having a clear appreciation for what you're doing, and having a very strong technical and academic knowledge, which is supporting you in doing the tasks. Because the more complex they get, the more you have the ability to perform the task well and to understand where the issue is.
absolutely.
I think it played a good role, a great role, and this is also the reason why I did my PhD, because I think the exercise is not gaining knowledge in a specific field only, but I think the goal is developing transferable skills that you can apply across all the areas we'll be working on, because the more senior you get, the broader book of work you're gonna get. So it's very important to develop skills that you can transfer across the various matters you are taking care of. And that's it's a complex exercise. It comes with experience, but you need the academic background that gives you the basis in order to do your work very well, hopefully better than others.
And this is always, of course, in law, because you are a lawyer, and also lawyer in different jurisdictions, because you are Italian lawyer, solicitor in England,
And
and,
in Ireland,
and in Ireland.
yeah.
So they are all then I mean, you started with Ireland, I think, first because
I started with Italy actually in the first place because I did my training as an Italian lawyer from London, flying back to Rome to attend court hearings as to meet my requirements under Italian law, as you know. And I sat my exam in L'Aquila, which was my district. And this happened back in 2013. Then, when I was working for Generali in Ireland back in 2018, I converted my Italian qualification as an avvocato to a solicitor of Ireland, and immediately after, I converted my Irish qualification into the UK
the
qualification.
qualification. In fact, there is the question if you want to draw a list of transferable skills,
Yep.
what are those that, in your view, are important?
Well, first of all, to have a clear appreciation of the legal framework. So, legal sources, legal authorities, difference between instruments carrying the weight of law and not, hierarchy between the instruments, all the basics which are super important. Then you develop an appreciation for business models.
Yeah.
So you understand corporate structure, you understand the business structure, you understand the various types of contracts, the interaction between the types of contracts, the interactions between the various lines of business of a financial institution, for example. So you develop a broader view. Once you have a view, then you develop the ability to flip from one aspect to the other and to switch promptly amongst those. And that's where you start making the difference, because you need to have a picture, right? A macro view of the environment. And based on that, then you are able to, deliver well, because you always need to understand where you are.
Probably, I think, I mean, also, I don't know, your PhD, and so the fact to write 95,000 words, that is quite, I mean, a huge task. At that point, maybe has been transferred also in your job once you need to deal with maybe a long report or maybe to summarize some things or even to prepare slides, presentations, because then during the PhD, you have also opportunities to present your work in front of others or through academia to teach and so to do presentations and to be effective in presentation. I think also this, I mean, maybe could be some of the skills that you could take from maybe more the PhD and then the LLM maybe with other skills, essentially.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think through the PhD you develop a in-depth knowledge of a set of regulations of legal space, that you'll master by the end of it, simply because you've been spending 4 years, studying all the time and drafting with all the footnotes, all the legal research, and so on and so forth. So of course you do. Clearly, as you said correctly, you develop also the skill to present properly. I think you develop in the first place the clarity in terms of thoughts about the topic. And once you master the topic, it's going to be pretty easy to share the topic with others. But it's the preliminary element is that you need to master the topic yourself. And that what makes the difference to me. So I think I did that. Of course, a PhD has been a very burdensome and long exercise. So there's been countless weekends studying, because I did my PhD while I was working full time. So it was pretty busy.
In
So
fact, I mean, to work and then full time, and in addition to carry out a PhD, it's very demanding. You need to read many things. How did you manage maybe the time? This also was a skill, probably, time management.
yeah, correct. I agree. It's a skill in terms of time management, as you said. It's a skill in terms of fast and selective reading. So with the experience, you are able to skim through documents and select the aspects that are relevant to your thesis more quickly. And so there's a number of elements. I've been certainly helped by the fact that before embarking into the PhD, I've been practicing law for years. So I had very clear what was the topic of my PhD and the table of contents. So I didn't waste too much time trying to understand, the argument or the topic because it was pretty clear to me. The difficulty was more like streamlining my thoughts and my ideas and what I wanted to demonstrate.
So probably, I mean,
Right. And
if we think, I don't know, about Queen Mary University of London, Oxford or Cambridge, that maybe they are more theoretical in approach. Maybe that is also the advantage of the Center for Commercial Studies, that even though a topic is practical, you can find the right practical expert within the Center for Commercial Studies that can transform a practical idea in something in between academia and practice. So,
you're absolutely spot on. So I think I felt Queen Mary and in particular CCLS was perfect for my topic because my topic was mainly practical. It was a practitioner's topic with also a strong academic component, but it was mainly practical. So I analyzed a product, essentially a financial product. And so there was space for theory, but it was not just theory. It was a practical implementation of a product in the current legal and regulatory framework. So it was the practical application of legal theory to some extent. So CCLS was perfect from this point of view. And also, I believe I've been able to do the PhD in this way, focusing on a topic which is niche. It's very professional because I've been practicing for several years before embarking into the PhD because you need a degree of sophistication, maturity, and clarity that you can't have once you have just finished an LLB. I mean, I think it's a different professional stage.
absolutely. And maybe because, I mean, the group is quite small, any one of you wants to put other questions, but also because we are really few people.
In fact, I want.
Yeah, especially if you want to introduce yourself.
Ciao. Ciao.
Wow.
First of all, greetings from Milano. I work for UniCredit, and when I saw the Italian voices and this event organized, I mean, inviting also very valuable colleague, I thought that I should definitely attend. So thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a great initiative. And maybe before starting, also since we are few, I would like to encourage the girls, Yana, Alessandra, and Guy. I think so. She's also female colleague to open their camera and don't be shy. So we are all colleagues here. So we graduated from the same school. You know, just let's make this beautiful session more interactive.
Absolutely. And you are UniCredit. In which position are you working in this moment?
So currently, I have a position in internal audit, and before that, I was working in regulatory compliance. Mainly, I'm covering client solution perimeter. So both my experience during compliance and now, so I'm auditing currently client solution, and this is because the topic of investment banking or asset management world is very interesting to me, especially EBIPs, just the products that we like here in Italy. And I have a question to Matteo.
Yes.
Of course. In fact, my question is a bit more sectoral. I wonder his legal opinion or compliance opinion about regulatory challenges or current trends and topics impacting asset management business in terms of like DORA, ESG, or what are the ongoing discussion within the agenda of asset management roundtables. Thank you.
Thank you, Eltif, and very nice to getting to know you. Yeah, it's a great question. There's a lot happening, as you know. ESG is changing shape to some extent because the regulatory agenda of some countries around the world, especially the main ones, is been shifting a little bit. So it was a big topic in the past, and now we don't know whether it's going to be as big as it was used to be 100%. DORA is a major topic, clearly, because it has a remarkable impact on the operations of all the players in the market. Absolutely. So I agree, it's a topic. I think one of the main topics is digital currencies at the moment. There's a lot going on, clearly, and the DLT more in general. So DLT applied to the banking sector irrespective of cryptos. So as a methodology to streamline processes, which I think it's a massive space, especially for trading or for clearing. And so it's absolutely remarkable. I think for the next 5 years, what to look at is the regulation. So whether this is gonna happen or not, and if so, to what extent. And of course, if it's gonna happen, there's gonna be spaces and changes so that we need to embrace as quickly as possible all the institutions inevitably. And so this is gonna be changing. Of course, there's AI, which is everywhere. It's horizontal, a big topic for everyone, and it's gonna revolutionize the way institutions work and the way lawyers work.
Absolutely.
Some different levels. So there's loads happening. I think we go back to the point of the academic background, right? So mastering the regulation is absolutely crucial in the current context. Repeating manual tasks, I don't think is the path forward. Any task that can be automated is by definition not as high value to some extent. I think the advisory component plays a key role. And so we all need to keep abreast of legal and regulatory developments on a constant basis. It's going to be just the background for providing legal advice. And so reading newsletters, participating in forums, staying up to date is absolutely crucial. I believe PhD for me was exceptionally useful because I strengthened my skills in respect to a number of regimes, for example, MiFID, IDD, Solvency II, taxation in general, like the pillars of global taxation, BEPS, and so on. And it's all useful knowledge, transferable skills that you develop and then you leverage during your work whenever you need them. So yeah, I think it's very important for everyone.
Thank you. And then we have also another question. I think as a lawyer in the space of asset management, what does your typical day look like? How much percentage you spend on client meetings, regulatory analysis, deal structuring?
Yes, yeah, it's a good question. So I have a very broad diet of work. Every day is different. There's a contract review to some extent. There's a regulatory advice. There's an element of client interaction, which varies, is not massive. But you are always involved in conversations about deals, transactions, clients onboardings, issues. I think the book of work depends on the line of business you cover for and the ability to build up relationships with your business people. Because in the end, when you are an in-house lawyer, you advise internal clients. When you are in private practice, you advise external clients. It's pretty much the same thing. So it very much depends on who's your client, who's your internal stakeholder, who the people you are accountable for. And yeah, I mean, you go through stages, but the more you develop a strong relationship with your business guys, and the more they come to you because they need help, and you're gonna help them. And the more you do so, the more you are valued within the organization, and so you progress and you develop your brand. That's what happens usually.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, because we are approaching almost the end of the seminar and the Italian Voices event, is there any other thing that you want to add, maybe an advice for the future? Also, because I think from what I understood, there are younger participants that they are starting their career in their own legal department or department like internal audit. I mean, also not a really legal department. Any advice?
Yes, I would say that you need to spend time doing what you like. It's the first thing. Second point is I always see the academia as complementary to practicing law in relation to, in the business, either in practice or for a financial institution or an organization in general. I think academia has given me loads of tools, loads of connections, loads of knowledge. I developed many skills which I find very useful to perform my work on a daily basis. To me, academia and professional activity are not alternative, but they simply complementary. It's just a matter of balancing between the two. I know in Italy it's a common thing for top tier lawyers to be involved in the academia, while in the common law, in the Anglo-Saxon, system this is a bit less common. I strongly believe that academia is an excellent idea. It's complementary to practicing law. A reason why I did my LLM, I did my PhD. At the moment, as Daniele knows, I'm teaching on whenever I can, and making myself available to CCLS whenever I can provide my contribution. I enjoy the journey, and I'll keep doing that.
Absolutely. I think, yes, it's very good advice for everyone. And it's very good, I mean, to have you at the Center for Commercial Studies. Maybe before we call the day, I mean, any further question from the audience, anything that you want to add, or I don't know, any other question for Matteo in general?
I mean, no question on my side. Just I would like to thank you again, and I would like to encourage you to continue this program, this initiative. Hopefully, also passing time, so we are going to increase in number. So when in the beginning of each activity, I think
Yeah.
it takes time to be recognized, to be known, but for that.
Yeah.
Grazie mille.
Grazie mille.
Thanks to everyone, and we will meet again soon to Italian Voices. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.